here today with Royal Thunder for United Work Nation. Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay. I'm fine. So it's the first time you're giving us an interview. So can you tell us more about your band for our French listeners? About your genre, your influences, and everything. Where you're from?
We're from Atlanta, Georgia. It's down south in the States. I we don't really worry about like what our band is classified as. We don't really have like a genre. I guess anything's fine, but to us it feels like alternative rock. 'Cause that's what we grew up on. So, and I think that kind of a lot of things can fall under that umbrella of a description. So it seems normal to call it that, but just influenced by life and the sounds that we're making. So.
It's kind of a mix of psychedelic rock and folk, I'd say. What are your influences for your music?
That's always a tough question because I don't want to sound pretentious or above anything, whatever you want to call it. But we don't. I always fear answering that question because I don't want to give anyone the idea that we're trying to emulate anyone or any kind of sound or strategically do things to be placed in a certain genre or whatever. So there's not really, as far as influences, musical influences, there's nothing. We're not pulling from anything or trying to do something. It's just kind of naturally coming out of us, and I think the things we grew up on are just subconsciously coming through and coming out.
All right. WICK is your new album. Can you tell us more about the songwriting process and everything? Do you do it alone or is it a work group?
It's definitely a group effort. I do the vocals and the melodies, the lyrics and the melodies. I play bass, but all of those things kind of come last, and I play off of, and I'm influenced and inspired by what the rest of the band is doing. Josh, Evan, and Will contribute a lot. Josh has been the main songwriter of this band since he started it. Will came along, one of our bandmates, and he's contributed a lot. He wrote a couple songs on the album and wrote a lot of parts throughout the album, which was different for us. He even did some vocals on We Never Fell Asleep. That's the first time I've ever let anyone do vocals on an album, and he's kind of underneath the verses on that. You can hear it. It's pretty cool. I was happy to have him do that. But and then of course there's Evan, and he adds, especially on albums, adds so many percussive little all the little bells and shakes and things you hear. He's all about like that, just that creativity, and he's so good at it. So it's all of us come together and feed off one another. It's a collaborative effort. Yeah.
Okay. The way you sing sound really heavy metal, and you actually sound a bit like the singer of Wasp. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm familiar with Wasp.
Okay. Would you agree with that statement or not at all?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think anybody can hear anything. I mean, I can look at someone and be like, "Oh my God, you look exactly like my friend so and so," and everyone around me is like, "That person doesn't look anything like so and so." So I think it's just a matter of perception. Like maybe you hear that, and I'm not offended by that at all. I like Wasp, but yeah, I don't. I just do what I do, and if I feel like it sounds good enough to live with on a CD, whatever.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me before. You're not trying to do something like someone. You're just doing your thing.
No one does a better you than you, so I don't see the sense in wasting time. Like, I'm gonna try to be this person or that. Like, what the fuck you do? It's been done. Like, why don't you do you? That's
You do you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some specific songs on the album. We actually really liked We Slipped. Can you tell us more about the process of the songwriting, the composition of the song and everything?
We Slipped. All right, so I'll confess, I only mostly know the working titles. I mean, there are songs on that album that we call Spring Roll. So, um, We Slipped. I cannot remember which song that is. It's pretty.
Okay, that's
I'm
alright.
so sorry.
That's
I'm
like,
like,
that's your song, not mine.
yeah.
Okay, so I have like two other questions about the song. So you're going to tell me Anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
I remember which
okay.
one, because I say Anchor in that song, so that's how I remember that one.
It sounds a bit different than the other song. So do you remember the process of that song in particular, or not at all?
That one was when I heard that. Well, after I put the bass tracks down, I sat back and listened. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this one? This was really that was a challenging song, and I'm surprised it did what it did. I'm completely surprised by it because I tried so many things that did not work because the timing of it's different. That song, the quote, like if you never leave the shore, or if you never go out to sea. Shit. It was what the whole song was about. I have like potholing in the brain today.
That's alright.
It's just the whole idea of like, how are you ever going to leave the shore and not see the shore, lest you go out into sea. Okay. Christopher Columbus said it, so Jesus, it's a quote from him. But that's what that song's kind of about, and there was something in that song that felt like the ocean, like the push and pull of the waves and all that. So.
Okay, and so the third song is Sinking Chair, which is really catchy compared to the other one. How was the process for this song, if you remember?
I remember that one coming together pretty quickly. Vocally, it was like kind of tricky trying to figure out where I was going to fit because there's so much going on. That is the most fun song to play. Even if it had no vocals, I could play that song all day. It's just like run, go, 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 go. It just has this like high energy to it, and it's very driving. Rhythmically, it's very driving, and I love playing it. It kind of just came together, and as soon as I heard it, I knew exactly what it was about, and I felt it. So, and I could relate to it, and it was very easy to just write for it.
Okay, perfect. So that's the last question. You haven't mentioned any dates for touring now. Do you plan on touring in Europe and especially in France, or is it not planned at all for the moment?
Oh yeah. We're basically leaving. Once we leave Europe on Saturday, we're going back home. We have like a week off, and it's doing promotion and playing up the East Coast where we're from, up to New York, and then we're home for a couple weeks, and then we go out on tour with Brant Bjork from like April to May, and then between by the time we're done with that, I'm sure the next thing will.
So nothing planned yet, but you're
planning. Yeah, we're planning, and but nothing written in stone yet. But there's a lot of wheels are turning. And the plan is definitely to be here in 2017.
Okay.
And definitely France.
Okay, alright, perfect then.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Hey, I'm Mel from Royal Thunder, and you're listening to United Rock Nations.